It was supposed to be fun, unfiltered, wild, and real. That was the whole point of Cancelled. A space where Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield could be raw, messy, and honest. But somewhere between the brand deals and the breakdowns, that honesty turned into something else, something neither of them could handle anymore. Now, Tana's breaking down on camera, saying she can't keep doing it. Brooke is quietly heartbroken, and the podcast that launched 1,000 memes, it's ending. 6 episodes early. Why? Because behind the laughter, fans missed what was really happening. The friendship was unraveling, the hate was constant, and what really ended Cancelled might shock you. For months, fans couldn't stop asking, do they still like each other? The body language said one thing, the captions another. Edits on TikTok zoomed in on every glance, every uncomfortable laugh, every moment of silence. Something felt off. People didn't just notice the tension, they obsessed over it. They're over it. They hate each other. This friendship is done. Those comments weren't just common, they were constant. And instead of fading out, the rumors only got louder. And then, out of nowhere, Tana dropped a bomb, on Logan Paul's podcast, no less. She casually mentioned that Cancelled was coming to an end. Fans were stunned. Wait, what? No goodbye episode? No statement? Just over? That forced their hand. Tana and Brooke released an episode called Why the Cancelled Podcast is Ending. And suddenly, everyone was watching, waiting, hoping for some kind of dramatic confession. But what they gave us was something different, more raw, more painful. They weren't screaming, they weren't fighting. They were tired. They didn't deny the rumors, but they didn't confirm them either. What they said was worse in some ways, that the friendship wasn't broken by one huge moment, but by slow, invisible cracks, pressure, burnout, 2 people growing in opposite directions. And maybe the worst part, they still care about each other, which makes the whole thing sting even more. When Cancelled first launched, it was electric, a breakout hit. Fans loved the chaotic energy, the inside jokes, the realness. But behind the scenes, there was something far less exciting. A contract. At first, it was just structure, a timeline, a goal. But over time, it started to feel like a trap. The original plan was to finish the year, no matter what. They said they'd see it through, smile for the camera, do the job. But in the latest episodes, that all changed. Tana made it clear. She's done. Not in 6 months, not at the end of the year, now. And her reason wasn't petty or dramatic. It was emotional. She broke down saying, I thought staying in the contract made me strong, but I realized strength is walking away. This wasn't about the money or the numbers. It was about mental health, about being so emotionally drained that even showing up to sit on the couch became a burden. The contract had gone from being a professional commitment to a personal prison. And every time Tana opened her phone, she saw what made it unbearable. Comment after comment picking Brooke apart, accusing, speculating, blaming. It wasn't just the internet noise, it was what it did to them. Tana admitted that she physically didn't want to come back to LA to film, that the thought of doing one more episode felt like betrayal of herself. And the most haunting part? She wasn't angry, she was numb. She wasn't lashing out, she was letting go. For Tana, the turning point wasn't some dramatic fight. It was silence. Palm trees, ocean waves, Hawaii. She escaped the chaos for a brief moment, hoping to recharge. But what she found there wasn't just peace, it was clarity. For the first time in months, her mind was quiet. No notifications, no cameras, no fake laughs, just stillness. And then, the dread hit. She realized she'd have to go back. Not to filming, but to pretending, to sitting on a couch and talking about drama she no longer cared about, to performing happiness while crumbling inside. She said it bluntly. I was so happy in Hawaii. And the day before I had to leave, I opened my phone and I was just overwhelmingly sad. That contrast hit her like a wave. What she used to love now made her sick. The podcast wasn't just content anymore. It was something she had to emotionally recover from. It wasn't the hour of filming. It was the lead-up, the aftermath, the thousands of people telling her who she was, what she meant, and why she was wrong. And Brooke? She saw it too. She felt it. But she wasn't quite ready to admit it. Not yet. Still, Tana had made up her mind. If Hawaii showed her who she really was, then Cancelled had become the exact opposite. At first, Cancelled felt like freedom. Tana and Brooke could talk about anything. No filters, no scripts, no rules. But the internet doesn't leave anything untouched. Over time, their freedom turned into performance. Their vulnerability became content. And every moment of honesty got twisted into a headline. It wasn't the act of sitting down and talking that drained them. That part was still easy, fun even. They loved each other. The conversations were real, but it was everything around the podcast that became suffocating. The comments, the edits, the assumptions, the constant soul-crushing pressure to either entertain or be torn apart. Tana said it best. It's the easiest job in the world and the hardest thing I've ever done. Because once canceled took off, it stopped being theirs. It became the internet's. Every story they told was picked apart. Every pause became a theory. Every laugh had to be justified. And what started as a safe space between friends turned into a stage with millions of spectators. And no exit. Brooke felt it too. She didn't say it as loudly, but it was in her eyes. The way she spoke slower, the way she hesitated before laughing, the way she started to question whether being seen this much was ever worth it. What they created wasn't just a podcast. It was a brand, a machine, and they were stuck inside of it, exhausted, overexposed, and slowly becoming strangers to themselves. It wasn't a meltdown. It wasn't drama for clicks. It was real. Tana didn't cry for attention. She cried because she was done pretending. In the episode titled "The Truth About Canceled Ending," her voice cracked as she admitted something she'd been holding in for too long. She wasn't happy, not even close. "I thought strength was finishing what we started," she said. "But I realized I don't want to do this anymore." And when she said that, something shifted. It wasn't just about the podcast. It was about choosing herself. For Tana, staying meant sacrificing peace. It meant inviting negativity into her life week after week, even when it was eating away at her. She talked about waking up dreading the idea of recording, about scrolling through comments and seeing herself and Brooke reduced to memes, villains, jokes. This wasn't the same Tana who launched Canceled with fire and chaos. This was someone who had burned out completely. What broke her wasn't just the audience's criticism, it was how disconnected she felt from the joy that once fueled the show. She no longer felt inspired or funny or even present, just hollow. And that moment, when she said out loud that she couldn't do it anymore, felt less like an ending and more like a release. The kind of release that comes after months of carrying something that was never meant to be carried alone. The internet wanted a feud, fans craved drama, and when the vibes shifted on Canceled, everyone jumped to conclusions. They're faking it. Brooke's jealous. Tana's over it. Theories spun faster than the truth ever could. But here's what people missed. It was never about hate. There was no betrayal, no secret fight behind the scenes. What happened between Tana and Brooke was quieter, sadder. It was burnout, misalignment, the kind of emotional fatigue that doesn't scream. It slowly pulls you under. And while the internet dissected their facial expressions, the two of them were trying to stay afloat. The comments didn't just guess at their dynamic, they shaped it. Brooke, in particular, became a target. People blamed her, picked her apart, and turned her into a scapegoat for every awkward moment. It wore her down, and when Tana saw that, something inside her shifted. The podcast wasn't just hurting her, it was hurting someone she loved. In one of the rawest moments, Tana admitted she didn't want to keep doing something that was damaging Brooke. That Canceled had turned from fun into something dark, toxic, inescapable. So the real reason it's ending? It's not drama. It's not money. It's not even about views. It's because they've both outgrown the noise, and neither of them wants to be trapped in a show that no longer reflects who they are. When friendships become business, something always shifts. And for Tana and Brooke, that shift was undeniable. What started as two best friends laughing into microphones slowly morphed into a brand they had to maintain. A brand that fed off chaos, vulnerability, and pain. And in the process, the line between friendship and performance began to blur. Brooke said it herself. It felt like they were raising a child together. And that child was the podcast. But somewhere along the way, they stopped nurturing their friendship and started maintaining a product. Tana knew it too. That if they kept going, they'd risk breaking something far more valuable than a contract. "You're way more important to me than this," she told Brooke. And she meant it. So instead of faking it for 6 more episodes and pretending it was fine, they made the harder choice. Step back to save what was left of their bond. There were no explosions, no slammed doors, just two girls looking at each other and admitting that this thing they built was no longer making them better. It was making them bitter. And that kind of honesty? That's rare. They're not walking away because they don't care. They're walking away because they do. In the end, it wasn't scandal that ended canceled. It wasn't a falling out or some massive behind-the-scenes blow-up. It was something far more human. Exhaustion, pain, and the quiet realization that continuing would cost them more than it was worth. Tana admitted it openly. No amount of money is worth what we've lost. And what they lost wasn't just joy, it was peace, authenticity, and the freedom to be themselves without being dissected. They could have stayed, faked it, collected the check, but instead, they chose something more radical in today's world, stepping away. Not to disappear, but to breathe, to reset, to protect their friendship before it shattered completely. Brooke isn't fully ready to let go, but even she admits it's not the same anymore. The spark is gone, and the mental toll isn't worth the applause. Together, they've decided to end it not out of weakness, but strength. Because walking away from something successful is never easy. But sometimes it's the only way to survive. And that's exactly what they're doing. Ending canceled to save themselves. So while canceled may be coming to an end, what Tana and Brooke are choosing is bigger than content. It's clarity, it's self-respect, it's friendship, off camera, without noise, without pressure. And maybe that's the most unfiltered thing they've done yet.